Why wasn't it addressed before a state survey agency ever got involved?
Are you trying to get the pool open for business?
They could lose their blue bins because the stuff inside of them costs more to save than it does to toss.
Are you a contractor? Do you know how to do construction, sir?
Well, these actually happen about 60% of the time, involving a rollover for all these crashes. But when you look at that trend over time, they're not actually all that common in Utah, even though we have 5 oil refineries in the Salt Lake City area.
If life was a game, sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just can't. But in Weber County, some have found a way. In 2008, Weber County created an early retirement incentive. Retire early, the county would pay for 5 more years of health insurance. Then, in 2014, Commissioners Kerry Gibson, Matthew Bell, and Jan Zogmeister approved a tweak. They allowed elected and only elected officials to take the benefit, worth tens of thousands of dollars, in one lump sum payout. 4 years in office, they're eligible. Leave office, quit midterm, get voted out, they're still eligible.
Wow. You know, this is certainly a golden parachute for elected officials.
Should taxpayers be concerned that their money is being used this way?
This is not good public policy. The commission, and if there's any other counties that have this same type of benefit, should reevaluate.
The KSL investigators surveyed 10 counties across the state. They all told us they'd never heard of such a thing. No elected officials got anything extra on their way out the door.
Looks like she got $52,999.80.
Who took the cash? KSL investigators obtained the payout agreements and pay stubs. They show the 3 commissioners who voted for the policy, Gibson, Bell, and Zogmeister, received between $52,000 and $66,000 when they left office. Former County Attorney Dee Smith also received a $65,000 payment. All told, 4 elected representatives cost Weber County taxpayers nearly $250,000 over the 4 years this benefit has existed. And that didn't sit well with taxpayers we talked to at the fair.
I just don't think they should get a payout like that. I don't believe in that.
They're elected. Are they a paid position when they're elected?
Yeah, they're a $120,000 position.
Oh, then maybe not so much.
So we went looking for answers from Weber County's 3 former commissioners. We called, we messaged, we went to offices, we went to homes.
Hi, I'm Debbie Janovic with KSL. I was hoping to talk to Jan Zogmeister. She is not here.
None would answer my burning question on camera. Is this an appropriate use of our tax dollars? Only former Commissioner Kerry Gibson agreed to talk to me by phone. He quit the county commission in June to take a 6-figure job with the state. When we went to his office, he said his bosses wouldn't let him go on camera. So I spoke with him by phone from the lobby. He says he thought the payout change in 2014 was for all employees, not just elected officials. And he says elected officials should get the same benefits as employees.
Kind of naive of me thought that the benefit was applied evenly across the board.
Current Commissioner James Ebert says he learned about the benefit when he took office in 2015. He says the commission is eliminating it now.
County policy should be fair and equitable to everyone within the county.
But even as the elected official payout is being put out to pasture, Ebert has one big decision left to make. He qualifies for it and wasn't reelected.
Are you going to take the cash?
I really don't know what I'm going to do. I got to find a job still.
If he does, it means taxpayers will fork out even more than $250,000. For a policy only a few can seem to win. In the puzzle of potential solutions to mass shootings, the newest piece may be found here in California.
Social service
San Diego City Attorney Mara Elliott has given gun violence restraining orders top priority.
We don't have to wait for a crime to occur.
Her office has gotten 15 approved in the last 3 months.
If there are enough indicators that there potentially could be a danger if this person continued to possess a gun or have the ability to get custody of a gun, then we can act.
Before it existed, judges could only take away a person's guns if they had been convicted of either a felony or a domestic violence crime. Now, with the restraining order law, police, family members, or housemates can petition a judge to take someone's guns away for a year if they feel the person is a threat to themselves or others. The judge will hold a hearing within 3 weeks to determine if the 1-year restraining order is needed.
Bond versus Loya.
At this hearing, Escondido police officer Craig Bond wants the judge to approve a gun violence restraining order against a man struggling with alcohol addiction, possible PTSD, and thoughts of suicide. The man's wife called police back in January.
I'd hate to see him shoot himself accidentally or, heaven forbid, kill his wife accidentally.
Bond works on a special police detail responding to people who are in a mental health crisis. He says these orders are a good tool to have.
Personally, I'm a Second Amendment person. I want good people to have access to firearms. But if there is a reason, a compelling reason, if you're mentally unstable and you've proven in your behavior that you're dangerous, we need to put that restriction in place.
Just this last month, the city attorney got a restraining order against an employee of this car dealership. He was worried about getting fired and threatened to shoot up the dealership and the person who fired him.
And in this neighborhood, police got a restraining order after they say a drunk man started shooting his pistol at what he thought were raccoons and rats.
If this were a law in Florida, potentially could it have stopped that shooting?
In Florida, there were a lot of indicators, and I like to believe here in San Diego we would have done something about it.
There's a significant danger to
Back in the courtroom, the judge agreed with Bond and approved the one-year restraining order. Another piece of the puzzle getting attention in California, Utah, and elsewhere as the nation searches for solutions.
We have seen a lot of inaction at the federal level, so I think that we need to be chipping away state by state in order to protect children and families.
Mark Stevens, KSL 5 News.
After the shooting, we filed records requests for those security contracts with Citadel Security, which provided guards to these two buildings. And that's when the state discovered that it was missing key written orders for the guards actually posted here, and it began digging into its own contracting policies.
Inside this state liquor store in downtown Salt Lake City, customers buy alcohol under the watchful eye of a state-contracted security guard. Citadel Security provides guards for a number of buildings across Utah. It's one of two firms holding a master contract with the state. The state is supposed to write specific orders for each building, like these for one of the Workforce Services buildings in St. George. But a KSL investigation has found not all buildings have written orders for the guards.
And that's a concern.
Including the buildings where armed security guard Timothy Lutz was working. A burglary occurred here the same night Lutz was charged with killing Thomas Stanfield outside this complex on June 20th, while working Citadel's night patrol at both locations.
Where the incidents happened, both the shooting and the burglary, neither of those buildings had any written post orders.
Deputy Director Marilee Richens with the State Department of Administrative Services says they began looking into the specific post orders when KSL requested them through a public records request.
I would have expected to see were some written post orders that were specific to that site.
But there were none. Richens says state managers likely had informal orders in place. And she says there are other buildings missing written post orders, which prevents the state from conducting thorough audits of its security contractors. Why does that matter? Taxpayers paid Citadel over $2 million last fiscal year for security. Because of the discovery, Richens says her agency has been working with both Citadel and its other contractor, Bedrock, to change the contracts.
That's one of the areas that we will really tighten up.